In this video, we're going to see how to name covalent compounds, also called molecular compounds. These are compounds that contain two or more different nonmetals. There's no metals in them. It's only nonmetals. So the naming rule is fairly straightforward. You name the first element first. You name the second element after. The second element, you have to change its ending to IDE. And what you need to do is, what's different compared to ionic is you have to use a Greek prefix. These are the Greek prefixes. They will tell you how many of each atom you have in the compound. So here I have N2O5. I know this is covalent because it's two nonmetals, no metals here. I have nitrogen. I don't change its ending. And then oxygen, change it to oxide. Now, I have two nitrogens. So the prefix I put in front of nitrogen is the di, because that represents two, so dinitrogen. And then the prefix I put in front of oxygen is penta, pentoxide. Usually when there's two vowels that follow, for example, pentaoxide, I can remove the A and make it pentoxide. The only time you don't do that is if the vowel is an I. But if it's an AO or OO, you remove the final letter of the prefix. Do not use these prefixes for ionic compounds, okay? So remember that when we're naming ionic compounds, for example here, I didn't say iron tribromide. I just said iron bromide. Here I didn't say dilithium sulfide. I just said lithium sulfide. Do not use prefixes for ionic compounds or for ionic compounds. Only use them for molecular or covalent compounds. So let's do an example here, P2O5. So again, we know these are molecular because it's only two nonmetals. We have phosphorus. We don't change its ending, but we have to use the prefix di because there's two of them, diphosphorus. And if you don't remember the element, P is phosphorus. I should only spell it with a U, not a OU. Diphosphorus. And then there's 5 oxygens. So it's pentoxide because we changed the ending of the second element. Pentoxide, the pent comes from the fact that there's 5 oxygens there. Now, here we have to be careful. We have CO2. If the first element has a 1, we don't use its prefix. For 1 only. Everything else we'll use. But for the first element, if it's 1, we're not going to use mono. So we're just going to say carbon. We're going to change the ending oxygen to oxide, and there's 2 oxygens, dioxide. Here we have, okay, you can pause it and try it yourself. Remember, that's the idea. Ni3. So we have nitrogen. Remember, we don't put mono because it's the first element, nitrogen. And then here we have 3 iodines. They become iodide, so tri-iodide. Remember, when there's I, you don't remove the vowels. Let's try another one. Let's try Cl2O. So pause the video, try this one yourself, and then we'll take it up. So here we have 2 chlorines, dichlorine. Here we have oxygen becomes oxide. Remember here we can use the prefix for 1 because it's the second element. So dichlorine monoxide. So in this video, we learned how to name molecular compounds or covalent compounds. Those are compounds made up of 2 or more different nonmetals. There's no metals in them at all. The main difference is that you need to use Greek prefixes when naming them. You will be provided with those Greek prefixes here and in your charts. Do not use Greek prefixes for ionic compounds, only for molecular or covalent compounds. In the next video, we're going to take a look at how to make formulas. So far we just saw, here's a formula, let's name it. Let's give it a name in words. But in the next video, we're going to be given a name and we're going to convert it to their formulas.